So, hello everyone, welcome to StudioPOD podcast. Today we are going to talk about how can we break barriers and build places. And today we have an amazing cast of brilliant women-led practices. And to start with, I have Bhakti Thakoor over here. She's a landscape architect. She has over 20 years of experience. She's held her own practice for a very long period of time, a great collaborator, and we love her. Next, we have Vandana Ranjit Sinh. She is the co-founder of Ranjit Sinh Associates. She has over 40 years of experience, one of the best architects you can ever find. If you have a great project, you can always go look for her. She has been an amazing collaborator with us as well. After that, we have Zohra Mutabanna. She is the founder and a director of her own company called Zohra. She is a prolific urban planner. She specializes in transportation and transit-oriented development. She's done one of the biggest plans in the country that are going on that combine and integrate mobility and land use planning. She is a leading expert. She's been lecturing all across India. And it's a pleasure to have her with us. And
all three of
them. And of course, the fourth warrior that we have over here is Mansi Sahu. She's the co-founder of StudioPOD, also a woman who's recently had a baby and has come back to work. We've managed to do that as well. Yes. And I can't thank you all enough for taking your precious time to come talk to us and discuss how can we break barriers together and build amazing places.
And all good things must start with a technical glitch. So our LinkedIn live event is not happening because we couldn't figure out how to go live. But that's why we're on Insta Live today, and we hope to be posting it on LinkedIn soon.
But it's going to be a regular podcast. We're going to record it, edit it, and post it online. You're going to have all your questions that you've raised with us over here on Insta and LinkedIn. We're going to ask these questions. We're going to get some answers. We're going to be discussing some important issues. And to start off, let's see what Mahesh has to share.
So I would just like to start off with Bhakti, Vandana, Zohra, and Mansi, just to start off this question, and you can all contribute to what your thought is on it. You all have been great at what you're doing in your domain of expertise, whether it's landscape, architecture, planning, urban design. You have been at the forefront of a lot of your projects that your firms have been working on, and often enough what happens when you are in practice, you get a lot of these things when you go out on site and work with collaborators around, that being a woman as an entrepreneur and at the same time being an expert, what are the things that you kind of look forward to when you go out there, and what are the challenges that would happen on site, especially with like men kind of being there in the same room and trying to talk about things that they know better. I would ask Mansi to start your experience in some of these parts.
Okay, so I think I'll just talk about one specific incident that happened. We had just started StudioPOD and I was 29 years old at that time, and we were working with an international agency, and we had to do a stakeholder meeting in a city where I went, and it was a room full of more than 40 officers, and I had entered with my backpack, and I was representing this international agency, and all of them were like, wait, are you in the right position? Like, and I was like, yeah, I am here, I am the urban designer on this project. And I remember a lot of them trying to like bully me at that point, and I could like hear their things that, oh, you're too young, or maybe it was my own fears, you're too young. They were talking over my voice, and I remember like I just wanted to cry, and I was like, no, I will not let these guys win. So somehow he asked me, one of the main bullies was like, oh, do you know the area of the city you are coming to represent? And I had done my homework. I knew the stat to the third decibel, and I told him, yeah, this is the area, so can we start now if you're done questioning me. And after that, 3 months after that, he was like, "Madam, are you okay with this?" But the start was rough. And I remember going back that day and crying in my room, bawling my eyes out, and telling Sarfraz Mahesh, "I can't do this because they're not taking me seriously." And so from there to the 3 months when he was like, "Ma'am, is this okay?" I was like, "Oh, finally I have made sure that he now sees me as a professional and not as my age or my physical stats or whatever." So yeah, that's been an interesting journey that Sarfraz and Mahesh know about. Zohra?
Well, I have another question maybe.
I don't have much site experience, like I said. I haven't really had an opportunity to really go on site and have to work with collaborators, because I've always been part of a big company which had, which kind of decided who goes on site, who does these kind of things.
You've been part of meetings and you've been part of...
Yeah, but so that's what I would say. I think the biggest setback for me was, when your own team did not trust you. And they were not sure whether I'm the right person for the job. Those kind of setbacks have happened. There was one meeting specifically where I remember my colleague had asked, he had asked a senior. So I had a senior who was a planner as well, and it was a he, obviously, him to take over the project and present it. But he really wanted to push me, and he was like, you have to do it. And then there was another colleague who was really stressed. "Oh my God, I don't know whether she'll be able to manage or not." It probably wasn't about me being a woman or anything, but at that point of time, they didn't see me as somebody who had the ability or the strength to be able to, carry a project on my own shoulders. So at that time, I remember that meeting, the presentation started and I spoke and I stammered a little bit, and to see his face, it completely crumple and be distressed that, "Oh my God, I'm like, she's making a fool of herself and us." That really hit me hard. So but those were setbacks. I think at some point of time, those were also really dark period of my professional life. I had to do a lot to come out of it, but that was, I think, the only place where I felt like, it's your own team that sometimes puts you down.
Vandana, do you have anything that you would like to share with us?
Strange, but I come from a generation where most of us had really insurmountable problems, but I guess I was just thick-skinned. I just breezed through it all, and there was a very interesting question about, would you rather be bossy or silent? And I guess I was the bossy one, so I got through, Yeah.
So yeah, Bhakti, what was your experience?
So yeah, initially when I started 10 years ago with my own practice, I had the whole universe sort of questioning my abilities, whether, and there was a certain image I had about myself, which was also not self-created, but it was more created by the people around me. So I had enough people to prove wrong, and luckily I thought I did that. And even with I remember at one of the clients, there was this project architect who was so against my presence in the project, and he kept telling the architecture firm, "Why are you giving her landscape? She's just not there and she's just not good." But then in 2-3 months time, when we started delivering drawings, and when the kind of quality work that we ended up making or ended up executing, and his top management sort of said, "Arey wow, you've done such a great job," and all of that. So quickly then that thing sort of course he changed his opinion. He went his way, I went my way, and we fortunately have never crossed path again. But the point is that yes, though, and that in a way for me was confidence. I mean, I built my own confidence as well. That I knew that if I had somebody so much against me, if I can turn him down with the kind of work that I'm doing or I'm able to do, then there is nobody stopping me. Then after that day, I never sort of looked back or even doubted any of my abilities.
Yeah, and I completely agree with the thick skin bit. I think I had to grow it as well. Now you just, even if inside you're like, "I cannot stand this," you have to be like, no, this doesn't bother me.
From the conversation is really clear that it comes super naturally to Vandana. She's the OG. She's the OG boss, where it didn't even occur to her that she could have been, or somebody is treating her differently or not. She didn't provide that opportunity to anyone to be treated in a different way, which is spectacular, and that's a talent that we all probably can learn from and get inspired from as well.
Saying, hello, I'm trying to tell her she's no good, but she's just not listening to me.
You're so focused on what she was saying that it doesn't matter whatever else was everybody else has an opinion about. But it's a lot about self-belief from all of you, right? Like no matter what whoever is saying or not saying, is that you know your business, you know your work, and you just do what you think is right and keep at it with that grit, right?
So tell me one thing, I'll be another thing, whether it is about being a woman in the room or whether it is about being young, is also another challenge that I faced. A similar situation where one of the persons that I was working with just would not believe in what I bring to the table, right? And it took a while to get over that, to also sort of that loss of confidence that one as a young person feels. To regain that was a process in general. So that I think is a lesson in general for young people who are entering the profession, that you will be put down, and this attitude of not letting it reach a place where it would become something that hinders with you.
They all said they knew their stuff. They were ready with what they needed to do. They were sure of that.
So I think that would be a good place to start, saying that, okay, what is that thing that brought you back when things were going down, right? Back to the center, saying that no, the belief in yourself. What was it that, so clearly, like you said, you delivered a really good set of drawings or projects. That means you knew your stuff. So I guess one of the things would be
prepared.
Be prepared when you get that seat at the table.
Larger goal. I mean, if you set a larger goal, like in my mind, I knew that I want to do my practice. So at one point, I said, "Come what may, no matter who wants to bring me down, I will still go." And that is where that that self motivation, call it whatever, but the focus of larger focus is required.
So what made you come up with this inspiration that I want to set up my practice?
It was a dream to begin with, it is, and it may sound a little too typical or stereotypical, I don't know, but I always took up architecture with that notion that one day I will be sitting in this one big office having people and my own cabin. Not that I've achieved all of it, but still that aspiration is there, and still that motivation is there. And once you have that dream and you want to go towards it, then I feel you should just start ignoring. And as she said, just cut off and disconnect from anything that is trying to do or bring you down. So yeah, that has worked in the past 10 years for me. So now let's see where I go from here. But yeah, but that is how it is. So you have to have a passion. I will not put that down anywhere. That is very important. And then everything will follow. Is another route.
Absolutely.
Everything
Passion
else will follow.
I think I agree, and one of the things that I've also realized is ambition. We have passion, and often our ambition is somewhere like behind, but I had learned very early in life that be ambitious. It's good to be ambitious, follow it. Do not try to follow the normal norms that are happening, because constantly you're bombarded by it, right? By age, by family, and a lot of the times women ambitions don't necessarily align to that. So I think one of the things that has worked for me is just like the larger goal, but to also be really ambitious that yes, we will change cities in India, and we will do a global practice, and we will create that.
I'm saying you at least aspire. Time decides, whether you get there or you don't get there.
Yeah, but you have to have that.
We have to have that focus and that larger vision for your own self to be able to then slowly go towards.
It makes you get up every day, right?
So I also think that there is a fear of women, especially that when you spoke about being having it all there and ready and prepared, I think that also becomes like a roadblock
Yeah.
to a lot of women, because you feel like until you are prepared, you cannot do something.
Correct.
And men don't have that.
Yeah.
When you're working,
They're confident.
Men are confident even before they know what the heck they're talking about, and that's so typical to see a woman and male, talking about the same subject, when you know that the woman is ultra prepared, but she cannot speak up, and a man does speak up, and that has always been a problem, that in trying to strive to be prepared, you lose a lot of time. And it's that when you, like, for me, I think I reached that point when I realized that I don't need to be prepared for everything. I just need to think big, like you're saying, be ambitious, be greedy, and just want more, and say we can do. Is this required? We can do it. What is not there? Like, we'll figure it out. We're smart enough. We'll figure it out. There's just no point in saying no. Let me go and check whether I'll be able to do it or not. Do I have the qualifications to do it? Do I have the technical knowledge? All of that is
Correct.
possible to do.
Point that to say that we'll do it, I mean, I must say that when I first worked with these three guys, and I got that feeling from Mansi saying that, okay, we'll do it, and there were times when I felt, haven't we given them enough, for God's sake? And Mansi says, so what, we'll give them some more, yeah.
Okay, so great kind of to know from everybody's perspective, right, what you are thinking about all the work that you were doing in the expertise that you are. But at the same time, we faced, when we were practicing, Mansi and both of us, when we started off as a practice, there was always somebody who, as a client, coming and saying, "Sir, ये तो मतलब क्या अभी शादी कर लेगी, बच्चे कर लेगी, and कोई, like, why are you having her as a partner at all, right? Why you guys can equally do it, go ahead and do it."
Who said that? Ask them point blank.
Yeah, so so that was one thing which we, as three of us together, always kind of thought ki, no, it doesn't matter. Like, it's not about gender, it's not about experience. It's about what we all believe in together, and that's how we started off the practice, right? Similarly, from your experience, we have like a young mom now, and we have a grandmom also over here. So this notion with everybody, forget men, in general, our society, in India as well as internationally as well, you can see the global thing, right? Like, people think that women go through their own curves in their careers, right? They start off, they do amazing work when they get educated, but then when they do come in practice, especially in our discipline, there's always going to be a pause when they either get married, they change their trajectories, or they have a kid and they kind of slow down. How have you kind of juggled with this whole perspective from people outside, and how have you faced the demons inside as well?
Let's start with Vandana.
Yeah.
Firstly, I think we're very unfair to the men. When I had my children, we used to live in Bhutan, and I came back because my family thought I'd be better looked after, and I deprived Ranjit of 5 months of his newborn. And why? I mean, why did that have to happen? Why couldn't he have had the benefit of paternity leave? So I think it's really a disservice we do to dads. And just as much as I took time off and worked from the house, and I felt he deserved it too. So there is a flip side to this whole story that we talk about, and we just, the thing is to say that, oh, but she'll go away and have a baby. Don't you want to be with your children when they are born, for God's sake? That has to go, that has to go, So, yeah.
So it's a joint responsibility.
It is.
And it has to be.
And he was a hands-on dad. So the moment I went back to Bhutan with this little thing, he was just there for both of us. And when my younger one was born, I was busy. He was there for both my kids, And so I feel that I know I'm turning the whole question around. True. But it's been about parenting and not about motherhood.
Yeah.
And in fact, the funny thing is that when I became a grandmother, it's the first time in 30 years that I missed a term in KRBI because I thought I deserved that break to go and spend time with my granddaughter. So yeah, I did for my granddaughter what I didn't do for my daughters. Yeah.
That is true. What it means is that it also means that the responsibility, the prime responsibility, is not put on one shoulder or one person of bringing up a child. It's actually a village, right? That it takes a village to bring up a child.
If we realized that dads need the same time, this question wouldn't have been thrown at her. Because you would have said, you need the time too. Hey, we're going to have the babies too. So that would mean 3 of you are bearing each other's burden while somebody's having a baby. And then this whole thing would be nonsensical, you know.
I think when we started, the question was really, oh, she's not even married. So if, and she's, studied in America, she's come back, she's not married, studied in an Ivy League.
She'll have to go wherever
wherever her husband did. If she goes back to America, she's going to take like 1/3 of your company to America. And we didn't look at it as a negative. And I think Sarfraz and Mahesh thought, they were like, that's great. When you go to America, we'll start an American part of StudioPod or something. So I think, but the general narrative is like, oh, ye to chali jayegi. And I meet so many young women, and they're like, oh, I'm waiting to get married, then I will move and I will start wherever my husband is. And I feel like that narrative needs to change a little bit.
Or it should both sides.
Yeah, it's their choice, right? It shouldn't be patriarchy over ages embedded in our head that no, this is what we have to do.
So it's interesting. What we started the conversation was that we need to have this big vision.
Correct.
And then the intent that no, I'm serious about this. I'm serious about making sure I have a thriving practice. Then do you think the life decisions that you take also fall in place accordingly to the vision that you've set right in the beginning of your career, and it helps you navigate the challenges that would come on the way better? Is that something that happens?
I think it all falls in place, no? Once your work is also part of your life, like your kids, then you're not looking at it as if it's like a work-life balance thing. It is all a part of your life, and you're basically, it's one more job, one more task that you're doing. And you juggle it around. Like in the half an hour break that you get between work, you fit something in, and it fits together in the whole day. So I think that's the most important thing that has always worked for me. I have never thought of this as a job that I have to do from 9 to 5, and this is now my home life and my job life. Everything is part of my life. I will push whatever is important for me. At some point of time, if something that my kids require is important, then yes, I will push for that. And I will keep things behind. And sometimes I have to sacrifice very important occasions in my kids' lives also, which I have done for something that was important for me at work. Obviously, they give you guilt, but...
So would you say one of the traps that we could probably set for ourselves is that we compartmentalize our life, saying that this is the time I will learn, this is the time I'll work, this is the time I will get married, and so does life happen in a serial manner?
No, in my case, though, it has not at all happened that way. And there was a time when I was planning, and nothing fell the way I had planned. And I started my practice when my son was 18 months. So I have actually put him aside on the bed and simultaneously put a laptop in front of me to sort of do work. And of course, I had my family support. Like I had a maid who would give me food on time, and the other smaller things were done. But I always say the reason that I didn't have a second child is because my practice itself became my second child. And that is why, so now, and between my son and my practice, yes, I have done whatever that is required. So if he has fallen ill, I have sort of cancelled a meeting, taken him to the doctor, then went and done. So all those things, in fact, I wanted that freedom. One of the reasons that I didn't go back to a job after a child, and a lot of women I think like that, is because they want that freedom and flexibility, which I don't think the work environments necessarily offer yet in our country, or I don't know what happens elsewhere, but elsewhere I think it's even more strict. I mean, people are expected to be back in X number of days and things like that. So I don't know about that, but at least my case, I'm very sure that because I wanted that freedom and I didn't want to be answerable to anybody as a boss or whatever, I decided fine, whatever that I can best do. And I'd given myself a time of 5 years. I said first 5 years, if it goes well, then I'll see. Otherwise, let's see what I do next. Luckily, my practice picked up, and also my son is, touch wood, fine. So doing okay, and so never really then looked back. But the starting point was definitely the thought of being able to handle both correctly, and I didn't want to then have the guilt. Though I did have occasions like that, but fortunately then my family sort of told me it's okay, chalta hai, it's one day, one event. So it got done. But what I'm trying to say is that it is important to be able to then gradually, of course, the work was work and personal life. Now I have started sort of distinguishing it a little more, but initial 5-6 years it was like both the things parallelly happening.
You thought you wanted flexibility and you started a practice. That's the most ironical thing I've ever heard.
As I said, I didn't want, but then that meant that I stayed up, and I stayed up till the night because morning was taken up by some vaccination and this and that. So and my husband has been there. My in-laws have always stood by me, all three of them. But still, the role of mother and that in Mother India, that feeling, which I always say, Indian mothers are, I don't know what to call them, but the guilt is too much.
I think it's, going back to Vandana's point and your point, it is about conversation today. Like, today I had that choice where everybody's like, oh, do you want to like go and stay at your mom's? And I was like, no, I want Kashyap to be a part of it. And I had to communicate that pretty loudly and say that no, we are not doing this. And people listen around you if you communicate. The same thing happens with work today, whether you are working in an office environment or whether you are on your own. I think we need to start communicating for our needs that yes, I am pregnant, I do need a comfortable place in office, or I have a child after 6 months. What do I do? Can the office provide me some things? I think it now needs to be a conversation louder than ever was, right? Because even I had that privilege because StudioPod was there, where I could just call them and say, today Kanav is coming with me. He was 3 months, I had a bag, we converted a table for him.
I have taken my son for meetings, where my mother and my son have sat in the car. I have gone and made a presentation up, come down, because and I had not weaned him back then. So then I had to be very careful on timings. So because I was going to travel for 1 hour, I didn't have that buffer. So, but then as I said, my family did stand by me on such occasions, but there were not too many of them. So I was being able to sort of balance that out. But I remember taking my maid and my son, making them wait in the waiting area where I finished my meeting, I came out. And these were these offices and these people whom I worked with also knew me. They knew where I came from and how much effort I was taking. So they also adjusted. So I do give credit to the men, as you rightly say. And I have had some very understanding men at the other end who have sort of, who have allowed me to present early, take a flight back from Bangalore to Mumbai so that I'm on time in Mumbai. So those things and those adjustments, I must say, have come my way, and there is no need. And as you said, if you communicate, maybe things just work for you.
Yeah, people are nice. I think when you talk to people, they are nice.
They are nice. And there is a sense of understanding with the men of our generation for sure. 100 marks to them there, and they do accommodate it.
I think COVID has also put a little bit of humanity in profession life, because it was so blurred there that in Zoom calls you would see kids whereas you would never imagine people that you're working with to have
imagine the men also having
kids, right? And suddenly they're like, oh, I have to go take care of and it became more vocal. So I think that is also humanified, I guess, the overall professional. I think one of the questions that was funny was, have you ever had a funny incident that happened while you were balancing work and baby or work and personal life? Maybe do you guys have any funny incidents that happened while you were multitasking?
No, I don't think there was anything funny. It was nothing funny.
Really candid answer.
There was nothing funny. It was quite serious.
Everything was quite serious. Yeah.
One thing which is great that there's always a lot of multitasking, right? And I would vouch for it with my wife Shraddha, seeing her how she has operated all these years, and I'm sure you guys also, right?
Yeah.
There's always a one hand up in that sense, because you know that everything has to be done, and each needs to be given that much time, right? And I don't know whether it's a generational shift what you are saying as well, right? Or it's more of contextualizing and communicating those things, because I've seen families even now having the same kind of a lot more conservative attitude towards, we were lucky in this room who are here, right, to do and go through what we do. But there's a lot of issues even now, right? How it happens in this current generation as well.
I think the issue is like something we feel like. I felt terribly guilty, you know, and so so one day I thought I'll surprise my little one by coming home at 2 o'clock, and so I come in there and said hi. She said, "What are you doing here?" You're in my time, you know.
I need my space now.
Build yourself into
and then I've had my little one tell me, you know, somebody's mother, she's always there in school. You're the wicked witch of the West. So there's a new phrase that learnt in school. So there's a lot of guilt, and then it's funny also.
Yeah.
But I feel like the kids know when to use the guilt.
Oh yeah.
My
So when
daughter
you
knows
grow,
exactly when she needs something. That's when she uses
Mine
the guilt.
uses it even now, and she's 30 years old. And she says like, you know, Mom, you were not there for me at that time. Okay, you know, but I do remember I would throw this at them saying, I'm going to give up my job and stay home with you guys. No, please go. You know?
That used to work on my husband. I joined both kids actually. I joined work in the 3rd month itself. First kid was in the US, so the law didn't support a longer kind of a duration. So I was back and I was pumping in office. They had a great system of support, so I was able to do all of that, but it had a very rigid kind of a system. Whereas when I was back in India, I was working from home, so technically it should have been easy, right? But you had a whole house filled with people who are there to help you, and they get on your nerves. So for my second baby, I chose to step out. I'm like, I need a break from all this, you know. For me, work became like a break. So I actually never took my kids to work. I needed that time for myself, for just interacting with adults and letting my brain function, because I feel like maternity period is not just about kids, it's about ourselves, how we are recovering, and so much of it is about the kids, and everybody around you is just constantly about, do this, bacche ko ye hoga, do this, bacche. It just gets to you, you know, at some point, and I needed to escape that.
Yeah, completely. I remember Zohra. Calling Zohra also and discussing this, because I was failing at everything, which is, as mother, whatever you have to tick, right? But the one thing I knew was urban design. So I was like, okay, this I have done for like 12-15 years now. So I think for me, coming back and be like, okay, view, okay, done. This is a street issue.
It really
gives you
helps
that
you
confidence
mentally,
back, saying that this I can do and this I'm new at. So it's okay if I'm failing on a daily basis, which, you know, in the first 6 months of your life.
No, first few years of your life,
probably.
Constantly failing.
I'm at 15 months right now, so 15 months of my life I have been, okay, thanks. And I was so delusional. I remember in my 9th month asking Sarfraz Mahesh, should I take up MBA since I will have a maternity leave for 6 and they were like, you wait because I was never used to not working. But yeah, I think that break thing is true. Coming, meeting other people, adults, having
in fact, after my I don't know whether I should say this here, but after my second kid, I started traveling more than I used to travel earlier. I started traveling just so I could get a night's sleep. It was impossible for me to sleep with my kid around. So I used to go to Delhi, I used to go to Bangalore. What you need me? I'll be there. I'll come. I just need freaking one night of sleep.
You were the one keeping
Yes. Yeah.
But you learn how to do
I did that in one trip where I went early and I said I have told the client they wanted to have dinner and I was like, if you don't mind, can I skip dinner? I've not slept for 6 months. Can I just go to the hotel and sleep? And I'll see you early morning. And yeah, so that does.
So it is, again, I know we are on the maternity section as of now, but I'd like to zoom back again. I think what was really interesting that came out from the conversation was that because coming back to the same point that I know for sure in case of Mansi, I've seen Mansi grow from this young bachelor who was dating and found a husband, got married, now has kids, and at the same time we were sort of building StudioPOD together. But I think what was important was the clarity that she had in her mind of where she wants to go. Her life decisions kept on changing based on her vision, whether it fits in my vision of long term and whether it will allow me to be who I am. And she chose a guy based on that. She chose timing of having a child based on a lot of that. She chose
a house where she stays.
She
along
chose
with that.
So that's why I'm coming back to this. Is it really important? I feel is it the vision that really guided you to become more successful in your career, and then a lot of decision making would fall in place because you had a strong idea of where you want to go, what you want to achieve in life, and what you want to be. Does that ring a bell at all?
Yeah. So I mentioned earlier that mine was not the way I had planned it. And so I got married in an arranged marriage format. So initial years I did spend in my in sort of settling down in my house and my family and things, and because I was living with my in-laws, so all of that I gave some time, and I worked simultaneously because I was sure that irrespective of what my personal journey is, my professional journey or my career will have some space of its own. Whether it will become big or whether it will turn into something else was something that I had kept flexible. I honestly didn't believe in being too rigid, and I feel at times rigidity can be a problem, especially when things don't go the way you plan. Then that flexibility is something that sort of allows you to move away and then again come back to where you are, So that is what has happened in my case, and it's been a very organic way of growing, So then after my job, there was a time when I was freelancing and I was saying, I'll have a family, but that didn't happen at that point. And the day I sort of got my first project, and the first payment of a very big project was the same time when my first 3 months of my pregnancy was over, and that phase of 20 weeks and when you start telling people about this thing. So it both happened at the same time, and I was like, oh God, is this the right thing to happen? But I then said, "Theek hai, chalo, maybe the kid is bringing me luck." And so I just took it that way. And fortunately for me, then it so happened that project, because landscape comes at the end, the 6-7 months the building was up and everything else was happening, and by the time the landscape started, my son was 5 months. So my delivery phase and my first 3 months and all of that was done, and then I had my support family. Family supported. They said, "Okay, you go. One day we will look after him and then come back." So that is how it happened. So what I'm trying to say is that it is important to have your larger goal, but there should be some flexibility. If you feel that things are not necessarily going the way you want them to go, but if they're going your way, then by all means, that's God's grace.
I would put it a little differently in my case. We had zero ambition. But now, now looking back on our practice, I think we had values and they kept us going. So not working was not on. And so you just kind of, I like the word organic that you use. We just felt there was something we needed to do. And it was our nature to do these things, to work and to, build and to design and to design in a certain way. And yes, everything doesn't work out. There are projects that you kick yourself about, but that's all part of your work. Not everything goes your way. And that's also learning. But yeah, I think we came from a time when the universe was kind to us. You guys have had it tough. I didn't have to bid for a project till I was 15 years into my practice.
Oh, wow.
We just had walk-in clients.
Nice.
It sounds ridiculous. And so we went to Bhutan because I couldn't have a baby and I was fed up. And we wanted to go to Bhutan and we said we'll go and help our friends set up a practice. So there were two planners, Rajni Chawda and Barjot Mehta, who's now at SEPT. And Ranjit and I were the architects and we set up this firm. And I'm there like 1 month down, or 2 months down, and I'm pregnant. And Rajni's saying, I didn't bring you here to have babies. But we just got so much work. My father-in-law was a bit upset with us, saying, you just got a practice going in Bombay, you started getting work and you've gone off to this place. It was magical. Bhutan was magical. We did
you had a baby there.
2. And I told the king that. I met the king. It so happened many, many years later. I said, I have to thank your country for giving me 2 babies after 9 years. And we worked and we got really large projects. We didn't have to worry about doing interiors and people's bedrooms to break into the profession, because when we came back to Bhutan, we had built hospitals and schools. And so we were very fortunate. But we were never ambitious. We just did things the way they came. And when I did get ambitious, I got slapped around a bit, we didn't get the bids we wanted. We tried again. Sometimes we got them and the projects didn't come up. And there were frustrations. But yeah, it's been 43 years of just trying and getting some done, some not done.
Yeah.
Some done so well that you still dream about doing another project like that.
Yes.
That's all
Absolutely.
about practice.
Tell us, how did you get your values? You said you and Ranjit together.
We had a little chat about it earlier. One is, it comes from your family. You cannot deny that. And the other is, I personally had, and Ranjit too, we had mentors. People we met along our practice. In my case, it was undoubtedly Kamu Iyer of Architects Combined. I came from Ahmedabad and my professor had said, you go work with Kamu or you go work with Charles. I worked with Kamu. And he taught me that I could achieve anything I want to do. School in SEP taught me I could never be Corbusier. School taught me that the standard, the bar of excellence was Louis Kahn, and nobody can reach that bar of excellence. So there was a kind of a negative message there that we had to be that or bust. Kamu said, architecture is everyday stuff. You do a project and you put it behind you and get on with the next project. And you move on, And so he just debunked this whole capital A architecture for me and made me feel so comfortable that if I do my best, I'm fine. I mean, what a fantastic message.
Yeah.
And integrity, his integrity was unimpeachable. You could not fault him. There was absolutely no question of hanky-panky. The man knew what is good and what is not good. And that's the kind of mentor I had, So I think we all need mentors. A lot of people have asked me about, did you have a woman mentor? And they want me to say yes. But those women mentors were my mom and my gran, and that's why I said family values. So, yeah, that's for me.
Yeah, I think mentors played a very important role in my, I think they still do. I mean, you have been a mentor to me in so many ways, but when I was a young architect, Christopher taught me how to build. And I remember when I was in his office, the first 9 months I made toilets. And he would like smile at me because by the 6th month I was like, 6 months now. Can I do something else? Like, no, stick to toilets. And then, but that, I think he taught me grit. He taught me detailing. He taught me perfection. He said the one place nobody looks at needs to be perfect. And that's the toilet. And if you can get that right, the rest of the building will be beautiful. That you can assume. I think when I went to Columbia, it was Geeta Mehta. She's a woman mentor that I remember. There were so many people who were like, oh, you've already finished your degree, work in America for some time. And I just really wanted to come back to India. And she was the one, go. She said, go. You'll earn money anywhere. You're talented. What are you worried about? If you want to go to India, go, start. If you don't want to, then stay. And I think sometimes it's just someone simplifying it that helps you, right? She's been a mentor to StudioPOD as well. And I like everybody, like Zohra has been my mentor throughout this. Like, you have 2 babies. How did you do this? So I remember Bhakti, and I was like, Bhakti, I cannot come to site. So, can you please help me for this 1 year? So I think there are so many mentors who have built us as a StudioPOD practice, and I completely agree. You need good mentors, and they shape and guide you in so many ways.
Yeah, I also agree. I think mentors is a very important thing. But I want to also answer that question on your goal and whether everything works around the goal. I think that is definitely one thing that is different in women's lives is, I think flexibility plays a very important role. So whether you have a big goal, small goal, whatever it is, if you're not flexible and if you're not willing to make it work despite what happens to you, that is a kind of resilience that is just needs to be there. Otherwise it can get mind boggling, that, oh, I need to do this and I couldn't do that. Especially this, I don't know about the 30s, that decade. By this age you have to do this, by this age, that's just,
you cannot have a story for your life written before the life, right?
So flexibility is a really important thing, and I agree with Bhakti also, that sometimes you just need to go with the flow, and as long as upar niche, like plus or minus 10% you're in the right track and you're going towards the right direction, I think it's totally fine. In fact, I think our careers themselves, they're like a marathon. Like, it's a marathon. There'll be short sprints, and there'll be some times when you're going slow. There'll be some where you'll take a detour also. But as long as you don't want to reach there also at some point, I feel like, what will I do if I feel like I've reached there? But we're not there, no? With the race, the route and the how you're navigating it is the most fun. That's where you're having fun. So yeah, I agree that flexibility is critical, and as long as you have that long vision there towards your goal, you're good. And bringing back to the mentors point also, one more thing that I want to add is, in my profession, especially when I work in, I am a planner, right? So my coordination, my collaboration is mostly with the government sector. And 10 years ago, government sector means sitting in a room filled with men. But in the government, in the last 10 years, there has been so many more females and women who have entered. And their entry has made our life so much more easier, because it used to be a boys' club. They are discussing and they are like chit-chatting among themselves. You don't get an entry there. But with women, you finally have people who are allowing you also an entry. So I really want to commend all those women. It has been, it's like a ripple effect. A woman in government really helps create so many more opportunities for us and people like us to enter all these secondary job sectors.
Fantastic insight. I remember when I got to know Mansi, And she told me that her mom was from the first batch of women engineers in the railways, and I was like, oh my God, wow, you know, that's really something. That's really something.
That's true. And I think it also comforts you, right? Like you're like, oh, kuch nahi to ye to samajh jayegi.
Absolutely.
What I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Because I have had conversations about ramps where, you know, it was like, oh, only wheelchair users will use ramps. How many wheelchair users are there in our country? And I had to sit that man down and say that every alternate woman can get pregnant. She will need the ramp if she walks home. You know, everybody who's aging, or in my case, even at 40, your knees will get weak and you will want to, you know, have a better. So it's not just about, you know, the code says for ramps, so must have ramp, or code doesn't
Having
define.
women on the client side is like the most important thing.
I completely agree. They get it.
They get it. They'll push for your ideas. They'll basically make, you know, create a job structure or the work structure that makes sense to you.
That is such an interesting point, and I think that's a big departure from my generation. I never had that benefit. I never had the benefit of a woman sitting across the table from me, unless we were doing a home. And even then, it would probably not be the woman who was making the decision until recently. Until recently.
So let's break one more thing down as a barrier, which is, you know, a lot of women are told, and I've heard this several times, that if you don't give enough attention to your child, you're not doing well as a mom. But I know at least two of you had working moms, and you were.
My mom was working.
My mom gave up her career as a dentist for my dad, who was in the army. So yeah, but she thought like a working woman.
So tell me, so it's a great panel to ask this question, and this plays really heavily on women who go through a child rearing age, when they are made to feel as if you don't give your full attention to a child, the child will not grow up to be as smart, or you'll not be doing a good job to the society, and this is your responsibility. So this bears really heavily on a lot of young women even today, because that is the patriarchy that is going through men, women, and through ages, that has been passed on to us. How did your childhood influence you, or as a child, think about it as what did you as a child go through when your mom was working or was not available full time?
I was very proud of my mom. I was very proud of her. There was never a point where, there must have been sometimes when she was at home and she had kids over to you know, learn and tutor. At that time I was like, oh, I am not getting her attention. But otherwise I was like super proud, and I felt like I became independent because of her. I was independent from a very young age.
I have seen my mom work very hard and managing, so she would come back at 6 in the evening, and immediately at 6:15, 6:30 she would get into the kitchen to do the basics. Though we had a servant helping her back then also, so she didn't have to do every little aspect of the household, but yeah, going back and looking into the kitchen was something that she did, which today I am not doing, to be honest. But that is maybe something that I have told myself, I will not do it, or not necessarily I am, and because I have two maids now, I have said I have appointed them for it, you know. So that is the difference between my mindset and her mindset back then. But having a working mother really is a huge benefit according to me, because somewhere we had our values in place and we knew the effort that our parents were putting to raise us up both. And though we may have been living in the best of the places in Mumbai, we had a very, you know, grounded upbringing in that sense, and our values were always that we had to be on our own. So the realization and the independence of being on your own is a little early if you have both your parents out, and when you see them equally working hard for giving you the kind of education or opportunities. So I think it was a very simple middle class upbringing, you know, which I think has worked brilliantly in my case, and I make it a point that I keep giving some of it to my son, because then I don't want him to think that he's going to get it all easy, because that is not the message that I will give him ever.
Yeah, I think my mom has also played a very important role. I think she also, at some point, I feel like I'm also struggling with it, that she set the bar so high that am I ever going to reach there? But I think at that point, I've also realized that you need not match it. Every person can define, every like individual can define their own limits. Like I have seen her come back and cook for everyone, and I don't do that too. And that's okay. I think both is fine. I think the first word that my son learned was bye. Because he would see me go every day.
Bye.
And he would very happily stand and say, bye bye mama. And I was like, okay, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. But, having my mom there. So my mom has helped now. She's retired. She's actually helping me take care of my son. So now she's like there. So I think it's given me independence. It's also given me a lot of understanding of agility that a woman needs to have. At 60, she decided to be an artist. It's like, I'm done being an engineer. No more engineer to me. I'm retired now. And I think, so she doesn't have any story to her life, and I hope I don't either. So I think
that's great. I think the what she's achieved and can be an artist at 60 is just...
So my mom also, but she goes through a lot of guilt. I have to say that at her generation, I think for what she did, she feels like she had to do that out of necessity. Like we were from a very low middle income kind of a family, so she feels like she had to do it out of necessity. If she had a choice, she wouldn't have done that. She would have given us more time, but she fails to understand what she gave us. What did she give? She gave us a sense of independence. She gave us the vision that a woman can work. And she grew and managed family, and she was not somebody who just did a job. She thought of it as a career, and she excelled at it, and she continued to excel at it, and it drove her. She was a teacher, but she didn't stay confined to being a teacher. She became a principal. She became an administrator. She grew. That to see that in front of you, that she also has ambition, and it's okay for her to have ambition and to grow and to make something of yourself.
That's something very strange, because once I had a conversation with Madhavi Desai and talking about the idea of leadership. No, though my mom was a trained dentist and she gave up her dentistry because she moved when my father moved, being in the army. Having said that, my dad was never there. She brought us up. Like, for her generation, she handled the bank account. She drove the car. She packed us. She decided which boarding schools we should go to because we were changing too many schools. It was my mom who wore the pants in the house, because dad was just a very loving father who came every December for a year, And then my dad passed away very early in life, and she ran a workshop for war widows and women who need, young girls, and she made such a big difference in Hyderabad because she ran a bonsai society and she designed public gardens, and all that after my father passed away. Never went back to dentistry, but she had a sort of a quiet leadership about her, And I think that's what all of us are talking about, that we had moms who took charge of their lives. And in whatever situations they found themselves. And I remember telling Madhavi this, and I think that's what she was aiming for, that they were our first mentors. That we couldn't think of being women the way we are without our moms being who they were.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a very interesting thought, right? You have been talking about inspiration, and that's what the leadership, what you have seen in your parents and your mom, right? All of you in that sense. And we talked about having a vision, having the values, getting the right mentorship at the right time. For the next generation who are there now, right? Young girls graduating out of architecture colleges, you teach at KRVI, you see a lot of them as well. How do you see them as the next kind of what would inspire the next set of generation, right? With a lot of these same questions when they are starting off their journeys, right? What would be one kind of message you would like to give to them when we have 60% or 70% of our staff is 80% of our staff is women power, right?
Yeah,
so
80% of our students are women now.
Yeah.
so and they will be having the same kind of question as they pass through their kind of career growth paths, right, and trajectories. So what would you give them as a message, looking at all these things we have been talking about?
I would ask them to have their clarity first, their where do they want to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now. I think they should have these kind of short-term and long-term, goals for themselves. Also, they should look at building associations rather than only being driven monetarily, because I see a lot of the trend nowadays is behind, fancy names, fancy packages. So I mean, and all of that also comes at a cost. So it's not like that is not there, So you need to then decide which way and which, what is your priority, or where would you want to put your foot in your initial first 5 years, 10 years, and then subsequently have a plan for post 10 years, So it is all, there has to be some roadmap in short for them. And I think they should work on that to begin with. And I'm sure opportunities are enough in today's world. In fact, the way the world is getting smaller by the day, I think it is even more easier now to go any part of the world and sort of work on the kind of things you want to work, or work from India for a project in Dubai or in anywhere for that matter. So those barriers have been broken. It is now your own self sort of goals and your own self priorities that need to be very clearly decided for them. And I think it is there, the whole, it's like a huge canvas that is available for you then. Yeah.
I don't know what I can say to young people, except I feel, as a teacher, I feel very strongly about the lack of hunger for scholarship. So I feel I would talk to young women and say, don't put yourself down and just skill build. Be scholarly, think deeply, have a philosophy. That will stand you in better stead in your young years. Because once life takes you where it needs to take you, you have a job, you have associations, you have children, unless you've built your core with reading, with understanding, with giving time to yourself, making yourself who you are, it doesn't happen later. Life takes over.
In fact, that was exactly what I was telling my 13-year-old now to be that. Because the kind of influences that he brings home from school, it's crazy. It's just crazy.
Another podcast for that.
And teenage moms.
But I would agree. It's not just women. Actually, this is across the board. Where everyone just needs to make sure that they have their head.
I just told him that, please let's have some filters, of deciding what is good and what is not good. And right now my focus is on him is only that. I mean, I'm not worried about his physics marks or bio marks for that matter, because I think he will learn. But I'm just telling him that there is going to be a universe throwing different things at you. You learn where to sort of filter it out and tell yourself this is mine and this is not mine, and that is the only focus I have just now for him.
Right. Zohra? See, I don't think this generation now has that feeling of girls can do this and girl can't do this. I think we finally landed in a place where it's an equal platform. Like, I don't see at any point where my daughter has even considered this as a thought that can I do this or can I do that. In fact, my son asked me this question, very interesting question. What was it about? Do you remember it? He wanted to grow up and be a doctor. And then he asked me, can boys also be a doctor? So I was like, yes, absolutely. But That's
Because our
what
pediatrician is
every doctor he's seen is a woman. So obviously he.
So we had a similar one from a school picnic. Boys can't dance, mama. Only girls can dance well.
So I think it's a level playing field now.
Yeah.
It's just.
Do you think
I think I'll just add to that. I think I would just tell the women to not be afraid to fail. It's okay to fail and it's okay to get up later, because there is this fear of failure which drives you from not doing some things. And it's okay to fail, and it's okay for the world to think of you as a failure for some aspects. You don't need to excel at everything, you don't need to be amazing at everything, and you just need to be okay with yourself failing and getting up the next day.
Zohra, you said something even more interesting. It's okay to have self-doubt.
Yeah.
Zohra was talking about how she really felt she needed to prepare. And it's okay to have
Yeah, it's
self-doubt
okay.
because she faced other people doubting her and making it plain they did. But sometimes young women perceive that they are, that don't have confidence, and
They have to aim for
it's all right.
perfection.
Yeah, it's all right to have self-doubt and to say that I can change my mind, and or even tell myself this is it, I'm done. I'm going to do something. Yes.
True.
Great perspectives for the next generation, but we have something fun and surprise in a way. It's a new thing we have started in our podcast, a rapid fire round.
And you guys will get chocolates maybe. If you could plant a tree inside any politician's house, what plant would you tree would you plant and why?
Banyan.
And where?
Where in which politician's house? So then it may be the chief minister, yeah, for sure.
Great. So banyan tree for him.
Okay, Zohra, what's one public space in India where women feel safe but actually are not?
The women feel safe but are actually not. India Gate.
All right.
Okay, great. So that was great. Vandana, this is for you. If your life was an architectural style, what would it be?
Brutalist.
Nice. Okay, Bhakti. If you could add one thing to every Indian public park, what would it be?
A nice well of water, like well.
Okay, Zohra, if Indian urban planning was a Bollywood song, what song would it be?
Oh God. You have to be good at Bollywood songs now for that. You only tell me. I can't think. I'm sorry.
Let's do another one.
If you could लिख रहे हैं ये सब जानती हैं. About that.
Good one. No, I'll ask you another one. Chal. If you could erase one city from history and start afresh.
Erase one city from history and start afresh.
That city only.
God. Okay, that would be Gurgaon.
Nice.
Good answer.
Good.
All right, Vandana. What's the most ridiculous thing a client has asked you to design?
She has so many answers.
Yeah, there have been some ridiculous ones. A pool that was so small that you could barely have two strokes from one end to the other because he didn't swim.
Nice. Okay, one question for you. If trees could talk for development, what would they say?
Save us. Save us for life.
Save us for life.
Actually, I had a better
us so you
answer
can
on that
live.
one from what we learned when we went to Jaipur.
Okay, Zohra, what's the most ridiculous urban planning excuse you've ever heard from a politician?
Urban planning excuse. So there are so many. This whole tunnel road in Bangalore is like a sad excuse only. Apparently, congestion is the saddest excuse. That's why we'll dig up, down, wherever and build roads.
Okay. Vandana, if you had to redesign a famous Indian landmark but it was completely useless, which one would you pick and why? Are we giving you very tough ones?
No, that heap of salt in Gandhinagar.
And why?
Because it's not Gandhian at heart, is it?
Yeah.
All right, for Bhakti, if you could swap places with one famous landscape architect for a day, who would it be and why?
Martha Schwartz, of course. Why? Why? Because yeah, she's my biggest inspiration, and I would want to do the kind of work, or rather even remotely get there if at all ever. But yeah, Martha Schwartz.
I think this is the last round of questions.
Yeah.
Okay, Zohra, you get one day as a dictator to fix Indian cities. What's the first thing we'll do?
I will please build out the footpaths to be at least 4 meters wide everywhere. In Bombay, at least.
Vandana, the worst response you've gotten after presenting a design to a male client?
Oh, you must be doing the interiors.
That's
All right, if there was one Bollywood song that could represent your practice, what would it be?
Sorry for answering. Good one. Thank you so much.
So last round, okay. So if you would you rather be stuck in Mumbai traffic for 3 hours or listen to a planner explain FSI for 3 hours?
listen to planners. Speak about FSI. Any day I would listen to them for hours also, that's fine.
What's the one thing about being a woman in architecture that men will never understand?
Babies.
All right.
Well, thanks a lot for. I think we had a lovely session with.
I hope you guys had fun. I had
Yes,
fun.
We did have fun.
And I think I have a surprise. Hello.
Hello.
So this is Kanav. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming over, and we had so much fun. And Kanav is very happy to meet everybody, and he has come to take his mommy home.
Spending this afternoon with you all was again an inspiration. I think what we want is more inspiring people like you. You must continue mentoring more and more. I'm sure you're already doing it, but keep inspiring us and keep inspiring everyone that comes in close with them. I would highly encourage people to get in touch with either one of them and just have a chai. Offer them chai and they'll come anywhere, by the way. So thank you so much for spending this time, and we really learned new ways how do we break barriers and build great places. Thank you all.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.